So go ahead and call this meeting to order. Chad, can you please do the roll call?
Supervisor Craig. Supervisor Thorne.
Here.
Chairman Schaller.
Here.
Supervisor Bromer.
Here.
And Supervisor Wolford.
Here.
Awesome.
First item on the agenda, the citizens' concerns. Anyone here who wishes to address the town board? Can I get a motion to go into public hearing? Comment.
Move to public comment.
Second that.
Motion by Bob, second by Mitch. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Who wants to start? Go Doug.
Well, I can. Well, Doug Olson, and I didn't see it in the budget about the water control on Lakeshore Drive. You told me you were gonna have that in the budget.
No, we don't have any water control in budget. We don't know how much it's gonna cost yet.
But you gotta have it in the budget, don't you?
There's no way to put it in the budget until we know what it's gonna.
There's no line
Well,
item for it.
Yeah.
you guys are all telling me the last couple of months now, we said we gotta get it in the budget. So, where's it in the budget?
We're still, I actually just had a conversation with Bob, a couple weeks ago with this guy.
Well, for Doug's, I think, specific question, we try and get it in the streets and roads budget when they have it in there. I don't know if there's a line item for
No, well, there's drainage.
Drainage.
in the budget, yeah.
in there. But once you get to, so for what Ralph's talking about, I just talked with the DNR about a couple different options there. And their MS4 rep, I don't know, we haven't talked to him for a while, Chad, but he said he's behind on a lot of this stuff anyway, but he was interested in seeing the area and what we could do with it, because I asked about drainage grants and or permitting, what would be required if we were to do drainage directly south or west or south, whichever. And the other one was somebody brought up a retention pond at the by Warley Manor there.
By the warming house.
Yeah, the old warming house, the old skating rink.
Yeah.
And they said that is really probably the most common practice now, as long as it's not adjoining any other wetlands, which it's not. So we potentially have the two areas where we could address those, but it's early stage. But it's not Sanborn. What is that? Delray and Winona. That corner may be able to drain that direction, and then the drain that is on the other side of Lakeshore and then comes over and dumps into the one west of Lakeshore, so east into west, and go from yours down or west is what we're going to take a look at. Or actually Ralph, I guess, more than I, but that's the process, or that's as far as it is at the moment. So until we get some of that finalized, I guess, as far as cost goes. I don't know.
Well, I can be assured then that problem is going to be looked at and taken care of.
I'll guarantee it's going to be looked at. I don't know if I don't have necessarily an answer.
Well,
on
you know, here's where the problem is, fella. The last one cost me $1,000, and it cost my daughter $1,000. And the time before that was just about, so this year alone, it cost about $4,000 between the two of them. So it comes to a point where somebody's going to have to be responsible about doing something. Otherwise, I have no other choice but to hire a lawyer and say, hey, because you guys won't do anything.
Oh, well, and I
Well, I mean, I'm just having
Yeah.
somebody. That's my problem.
You're
See,
frustrated.
I got to have
Yeah.
some assurances
Yeah.
that you guys are going to take care of my problem. If you're not going to take care of my problem, somebody else is going to have to do it.
I can assure you that I'll do everything I can to take care of your problem.
I'm sorry?
I'll do everything that I can to try to take care of your problem.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, I'm not gonna sit here and assure you that I definitely will
Part
come
of-
up with every answer, but yeah, you haven't left my
part of the challenge here,
List.
Doug, is you've had the early lot and it's lower. I mean,
I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
your lot, you've had that lot for a long time there. You guys have had that lot, and it is lower, unfortunately.
Originally, it wasn't. They
Right.
raised the road.
Well, that along with the other lots around you, that's where I'm getting at. So how to get around that,
And
or
then they filled in the ditches.
yeah.
So we don't have any ditches, we don't have
That's,
any drainage.
so that's the exact conversation I had with, it's either Jason or Jared, it escapes me at the moment, from the MS4, which is we had to do that comprehensive plan about runoff and how we control or contain our drainage or outflow into the river, because that's what they're trying to stop or trying to minimize.
Well, let me ask you this, and why can't it put a culvert and hook it up to the drain over on, Baumgartner?
Well, that's part of, I think, the ongoing effort. At least that's the question I'm asking. So if you take from your lot, I mean, this is purely speculative, so this is just talking with Ralph and talking with the DNR, but if you were to take and do surface, return the surface diversion in those, you end up basically culverting the couple of roads that it intersects to the west, and then hit that existing. I just don't know. I'd have to get with Steve. We have to figure out exactly where that goes and what the outfall is, and if that's required, permitted, or permit required or not from the DNR. But that is still in process. I know we've talked about it early on. It's moving at a government space, unfortunately. But he is. When I talked to him, he said potentially next week they'll probably reach out to you, Ralph, and then if we can get together on it, maybe get a hold of you, Doug, and take a look at, where you're at, and
Okay,
so.
Thanks.
I got another question. Why do we need a fire truck?
Go ahead, Ralph. Want to jump in?
Well,
Yeah, I'll let Matthew,
Well, there's nothing budgeted
well,
for it this year.
yeah. There's nothing. They're looking at a referendum, but from the get-go, this is purely probably my position on it or my understanding. So if you look at what's the purpose of a town government, health, safety, welfare of the residents, streets and roads, sanitation, sewer, police.
Then why do we need a fire truck? It's $500 million.
Fire safety, and that's what the board decided. If it's going to go to referendum, if the residents don't want it, then don't do it.
Well, I forgot to put my hearing aids in, so
it's all right.
if I talk a little louder, that's the reason why, because I can't
Sure.
hear.
No, that's fine.
So, to my estimation, why should we spend $500,000 on a fire truck we don't need? Unless you can convince me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, why we need it, because what would we do with the old one if we traded it in for somebody else? It'd be good enough for them, it should be good enough for us.
The old truck won't be good for anybody.
I'm sorry?
The old truck won't be good for anybody. It doesn't meet any standards anymore.
Well, yeah, but what's wrong with it?
It's,
falling apart.
yeah, it's literally
What's
falling.
falling apart on it?
The body.
Well, can it be fixed? If my car falls apart, I fix it.
You'd be sticking 100,000 into it, and it's
Well,
still an 82, which means it's outside of its 20-year lifespan that it's supposed to have.
Yeah, but it works, don't it?
It's beginning not to.
It works, don't it?
It's beginning not to. The pump doesn't,
Well, can't you fix the pump?
we fixed the pump over and over and over again.
Well, fix it. A hell of a lot better spend
So-
$500,000 on something you really don't need.
Oh, and I hear where you're coming from, and yeah, I certainly understand why some people that wouldn't, they just see a couple trucks parked there. Even if you dump $100,000 into that truck, it still doesn't meet NFPA standards. It's got an open end back cab. It was designed for firefighting in 1982. It needs replaced for the same reason we don't churn butter anymore. It's finished its life expectancy.
Is this thing gonna be on a referendum?
Yes, yeah. So that's just it. It's going to be going to a referendum. So it's not by any means been a board decision that we got to have this truck. So the town will make the
You told
decision.
me that you guys last night said that we were gonna put it on a referendum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I also want to make sure you're clear that this fire truck is no more important than your drainage issues. I
Pardon me?
want to make sure you realize that this fire truck is no more important than your drainage issues. That's, the two are complete separate items, so,
Yeah, but you need money to fix my drainage problem, and I'm not sure you need money for that new fire truck, because $500,000 is one hell of a lot of money if it isn't needed.
it's only needed if something catches on fire.
Yeah, but if it works,
That's the problem, it doesn't work anymore.
well, then if it doesn't work, why are we using it now?
Because we don't have another truck.
Huh?
Because we don't have another truck.
Well, that's, obviously it works.
We use it as very little as possible.
Yeah, but
It is
it
the
works.
second engine out.
It works,
It can be forced to work, yes.
but it can be repaired to be like it was new, couldn't
I don't know.
it?
So is it, I mean, we're getting, at the end of the day, if nobody wants the new truck, it comes down to, Doug, that the ongoing thing, you only fix your car for so many years unless it becomes a classic, and then it's not your main driver, right? Just something might go wrong or whatever the reason is.
Well, it really don't do any good for us to talk about it now, but it's gonna be on referendum, let people decide.
Yeah, right. So,
So, is that it, Doug? We got-
Yeah, thank
okay,
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Doug.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, Terry, I was wondering what your opinion is, what justified these two bump up or step raises for just two employees?
Well, we had everybody come in, and then Chad was the one that brought it for us for Cassie. And, I don't know, Steve's always been great at everything he's done.
What's his job?
Yeah, he does his job, but he does an excellent job.
Well, I think they all do.
Yeah. They,
I mean, it's,
Steve goes on beyond what anything
the
asks him.
part of that was the return.
I'm not asking Terry about this, right?
Part of that, Terry, if you remember, was because the previous position was,
Well,
at
yeah,
that-
for those of us that know how that come down, was when Dave Johnson got fired, Steve got the job, and he volunteered to give Steve Pence $1 of that raise. Well, since when does employees dole out money? I mean, that's not an employee position, that's a board decision. And so he's $1 short. Now it looks to me like he come in here and wanted to make up that $1 by getting 2 50-cent bumps. I mean, it don't make sense.
Well, you know, we all voted on it, or,
Well, I understand that, but you're the chairman, you're the leader of the board, and I was wondering what your justification is.
no, like I said, Steve does, you know, well above what anybody asks him to do. I think everybody would agree with that. And Cassie, we were trying to move her up, you know, because she's been doing an excellent job. She started out at a lower wage, so we bumped her up under Chad's recommendation. So,
Yeah, so she's making just about now what a 30-year person did, just that retired. Is that the case?
No, not even close.
She's got to be close to what Sue was making.
She's making 18 something. She's making what Sue made in 2016. Yeah.
And it's a short-term employee, and you throw all that money at them, plus the 2% that everybody gets. I mean, that.
What
all it
short-term
does-
employee?
Pardon me?
What short-term employee?
She hasn't been full-time that long, Mitch.
Oh. I thought you meant a part-time employee.
No.
No, but she's at a pay scale where she would be in the old bump system. And we've used that system for all the employees, and so we decided it would be fair to give her that as well.
I'll tell you, all that bump stuff like that, all it does is cause animosity. I've seen it working for the city for 30 years, and it, throughout the ranks, you might not hear it all the time, but it does.
Well, we gave the
That's
same
not
thing
good
to
for our
Joe.
place.
We gave the same thing to Joe, and you know that you were on the board at the time.
Well, he was a new employee, and that was in the system. To bump him up is,
Same thing for Cassie, who's in the system to bump her up.
I didn't see it anywhere in any policy.
Well, no, it used to be
So,
in there.
I-
It's
my-
not in there for anybody
But
now.
the thing on that is the concern that I'm asking or wondering is if they're trying to asking us to treat one employee differently than the others, and that
Well, that's what happened when you give.
we're equalizing it, we're undoing it.
Oh, that was taken out of the policy and procedure manual, or?
Yes.
I think what we're gonna do, Bruce, is do like we did for the maintenance employees. We're gonna put it down on paper. If a new employee comes, this is what you're gonna get, and this is what your bumps will be. So everybody knows when they're hired. So,
Well, that was in the manual.
It was never in the manual, Bruce. It was in the old contract.
And
There's-
that transferred over into the manual.
The manual's never carried anything about wages. Never. It's always been in the contract. Just to clarify, just so you know that it's not in the manual.
Well, how come it was honored then?
And, well, if Cassie had started under the old contract, she'd be exactly where she is right now, where we're putting her.
Yeah,
That's where she would be.
there is no contract, it's just a manual.
I understand that, but we've honored that for all the other employees, and I don't.
It was the right thing to do.
According to you. That's one person's opinion.
No,
And
it's
you oppose it, so it's duly noted.
of course, right.
It's just,
Because if we didn't, honestly, to be fair to Cassie, then we would have to knock Joe down and we'd have to knock Lenny down, who both were started at a much lower rate.
She does it.
you don't knock people down.
But that's what I'm saying. But you're arguing that we're not, that you're arguing for the maintenance guys, but not my office employees, and that I don't agree with, Bruce. I don't agree with that.
Well,
Because we've made it fair now to all the general employees.
that's your opinion.
Exactly.
That's
But
fine.
if it's not fair to Cassie, but
One
it's
person's biased opinion that works with them.
but how could you imagine? I can't imagine Cassie thinking, well, why is it fair for them and not for me? Because then the only other fair thing to do would have been to knock them guys down or not even give them the bumps. Period. So I disagree with you. I think Cassie and she's still not at a level where she should
And
be.
her bumps do not include a pay increase, just the bump increases.
Well, I thought she gets 2%.
No, she does not.
Are you sure?
Yep. She gets 2 bumps, no pay increase, besides the bumps.
How is that fair? Because usually when you give the percentage raise, that's across the board. Anything else is over and above.
The 2% is included with the bump already.
You just said she ain't getting the 2%.
It's
She's not.
separately. Yeah, it's
Well,
included with.
The bumps
She's
bring her.
addition to it.
The bumps bring her to where she would be in pay, following the old system, just like we did for the maintenance employees.
Actually, still technically 2 years behind.
And she's still 2 years behind that in pay. She'd be at $19.27 an hour if we brought her to where she should be.
But we can add, if you're asking to add another 2%, we can do that. as
Did I
well.
say that? No.
You said that we were missing
I
it.
asked.
Okay, just get clarification.
Don't argue wages with me, Bob. I've been through this for 30 years, so if you think you're gonna bullshit me, you're not.
I'm not trying to, I'm
Oh,
not.
you tried to. Oh, yeah.
You said we're not giving her 2%. I said it's built in. You said no, it's
Well-
not. I said okay, we'll add it then.
Her wage is more than 2%, is
Right.
what Bob is
Exactly.
getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2% is one thing, the bumps are another.
But the bumps for her don't include the 2% if you're thinking she's getting a 2% plus the 2 bumps. She's not. She's getting the 2 bumps
Right.
with no percentage increase.
That's what I want to clarify.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Got anything else, Bruce?
I guess that's it for now.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Jeff Bowling, 1503 Carolyn Street. Pretty soon we ain't gonna need any fire trucks, we're gonna need horse and buggies. Because the streets are getting pretty damn bad over here. Instead of putting money out for a fire truck, I think we need to get our road specs first. And so the fire department should just leave us alone. We get the road specs and then go from there. Unless they want to give up their wages that they're making for training and their fire calls and stuff like that, is considered volunteer instead of getting paid to do that. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna vote against the fire truck, and I will do that, and I will push for people over here to vote no. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Got anything for us?
No, I think you guys have picked on enough.
All right. Go ahead.
With that referendum, Is it gonna be a binding one, advisory one,
Advisory.
advisory only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typically, a matter like that is an advisory referendum, so.
Anything else then? No? All right. I get a motion to call the public hearing?
So,
I'll second that. I get a motion by Bob, second by Terry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move down to business 4A, working session for 2018 Town of Campbell General Fund and Utility Fund budget. Well, Chad, where are we at when we got
based on everything that was compiled from 2 nights ago, I'm showing 242,071 and 46 cents. So $242,071, 46 cents. Rounding numbers off, if we back out all the capital outlay expenditures and leaving the parks capital outlay there, we're roughly 59,000 short. So if we backed all the capital outlay out, we'd be about 10,000 in the positive. So really we're sitting about the same as where we were the other night. I mean, really in general. Some of it was, I mean, we did do a couple adjustments to certain things, but once you throw that other 46,000 into the tree thing, it kind of ate up everything we did on Tuesday, so.
So we left the trees thing in there, we would still be 36 over.
59 over.
59 rough, give or take a couple $100, but it was 59,000 some odd change.
You're saying we take everything out of capital outlay, we'll have 10,000 extra.
Yep.
Everybody wants.
Because your capital outlay budget is 254,825, and right now I'm showing a fund balance of 242. So, yeah, again, if you pull it all out, somewhere in that 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get down to the penny once we start moving some stuff, but it doesn't make any sense to get down right to the penny right now.
So you've got, when you say all capital outlay for all of,
If you pull out all the capital outlay wants right now, other than the streets, that has
that
to
one
stay
has
in
to
there.
stay in
That one's, I mean, that's a must. That one has to stay in there.
so I'm gonna circle back on, you've got, so capital outlay, if I look at, so when you always go back to capital outlay parks, 69,700.
Correct. Yeah, that was what was submitted by Kelsey.
Rich's was 70.
Yes.
And the trees.
Do you know, Kelsey, when there'll be a solidified number for the trees?
When we had talked, you told me that I had to get approval to get bids.
Okay.
But I did have a gentleman call me today, because I think he called here. He was cutting down some trees somewhere and found some tags. Okay. Go ahead and take them down.
Because you said the low end was 20,000?
26.9, I think is what.
26.9. So I mean, 20,000 right there.
That's if I go off of the
Woody's
guy
tree
that mentioned
service.
I have
Yeah.
Woody who charges. He's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But he does nice work.
I'm just saying, if we knew those numbers by the budget hearing, you know, we could anticipate that, but.
I did ask this guy what he would charge per tree, and he said, depending on the size, $500 to $900. But I also didn't tell him how many there were, so maybe we could get a deal.
So looking at it, easy math. You take capital outlay parks to 10. We're at 0.
Yes, easy math.
And in fact, we're really not at 0. We're just saying what we forecast for expenses. I mean, it's not like we're saving the town any money ever. Is part of the thing. So it's kind of a misnomer that we have extra money or that we're at 0 because we're still charging more taxes.
Ultimately, you want to be somewhere close to 0.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, at 0-based budgeting or at 0, you want to just purely your forecast.
Yes.
So, just hearing the aversion to spending money on a fire truck and knowing that Doug's got drainage issues, I have a hard time looking at that and saying, I know if we're spending money there, those would be my 2 priority items. Because that's really when I look at town board, what it's responsible for. Primary functions.
So I'm not sure why we have a park and rec department, I guess. I don't know why you just don't cut 2 people out and have a group of 3. And then 2 people can do more work. I guess I don't know what the point is. I think that if I'm willing to be a team player and knock mine down quite a bit, I think you all should be willing to find something in your budget that you can give me a little bit. I don't know what you want me to do with $10,000. Do you know how much things for parks cost and how much is needed around here? And a lot of people do look at that to come live here. It's very important. And I know that drainage is important, I get that. But he's gonna have a better chance of getting a loan for drainage problems than you're gonna give me a loan to go buy some new equipment. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Just correct me on that one. That's a yes or no question.
I don't think it'd be any different.
So you would go, if I asked you for a $30,000 loan for new equipment, you would be all about it.
Short term, we could do that, couldn't we? Chad?
Well, of course, you can do, like I said, your spending limit is pretty high. It's just, the payments are what are going to get you on the taxes. So it's, you know, that's where you guys, the board, have to
I just
determine.
think that we're a group. We should be willing to compromise a little bit. I'm willing to knock mine down almost half, if not a little more. I think that you all should be able to scrounge up $5,000 in your budget somewhere to give it to me, so I can have 10 plus 15, and then I can do something.
Well, it's not my budget.
I didn't say it was yours. I said you all.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, the sewer department is not mine. It's everybody's. It's not my budget. It's not my money. I don't own that money. I don't want to spend that
Okay,
money.
excuse me in my wording, Bob.
No, I'm just saying philosophically, I think this.
I just want you guys to find a little bit of money and care a little bit about a department. If not, there's no point. There's no point to have this department. No, or this park and recreation supervisor. There's no point in it. What, someone else can't maintain this stuff?
Well, I find value in the position.
Oh, you do, but you don't want to give me any money.
I don't tie money to the value in the position.
Oh, okay, well, Kelsey, what did you do for yourself this year? Well, I got, nothing.
Kelsey, You attended all the same meetings and made all the same policy decisions as everybody else.
I do not agree with some of the policy decisions.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. We're all here to work the process. It has nothing to do with the budget. So
I just want someone
I
to
think
kind
you
of
have.
tell everybody
What I'm
to
saying is you have a valued role, in my opinion, whether or not you have 59,000. I don't.
I just said I would be willing to knock it down. I had a very big wish list. I understand that. It was a little far-fetched, but hell, you don't know if you don't try, right? So I put it out there. All I'm asking is for someone to just find a little bit in their budget somewhere. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for the world. That's it. That's all I want. I want to be able to do something. I'm not sure if you've realized how much got done this summer. I'm not sure if you've paid attention or not. Any
I
of
think
you,
you did a
but
ton.
A lot got
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
do you know how excited and how wonderful the feedback has been? I would love, there was...
I don't discount
I'm
any
not,
of it.
I'm not going over and hashing it over and over again. All I'm asking is for you to find a little bit of something somewhere. That's all I'm asking.
I come in yesterday to talk to Chad, and he thought, like, the general ops, was it that you were telling me we could move some of that over into her capital items, so.
Yeah, I mean, you had in there 30,000 for general ops. I wasn't quite sure where that number came from. I was thinking more 20-ish.
Well, it depended if we were going to do the YMCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying, because we're looking at about 11.5 for the Y, and then the porta potties are come out of there, which
Yeah,
is about
We might have to knock a few of those off.
7,000 or 8,000 a year. But you know, the averages have been about $500 for Park and Rec general op, and that's not to say that because it hasn't been spent, not to say that that maybe it's not warranted, but we just haven't used that much. So. You know, based on the porta potties, and if we do the Y, I could see that maybe moving 10,000 of that over
Okay,
into.
I have a wonderful idea. How about you guys just decide and tell me what I can have? That's how I feel about it. I am bitter about it, if you can't tell.
Do you have any carry forward?
No.
I have some I can carry forward, but I'm sure they won't let me.
Oh, yeah.
But I want more besides that.
And then I wasn't quite sure on the community center general ops at 15. What if you had
I
plans?
wanted to clean that place up. Let's get a little more money for it. It looks like it's from the 1950s in there with the wood paneling. It's time for it to go. It's time to make some more money.
I know them guys up there were talking that the door needed to be replaced.
Yeah, and Mitch doesn't have anything in his budget, so I'm taking that money out of my budget this year to do that, for that, so. We're looking in right now to make it, get the electric to, so it has the push button. And switch the swing the other way.
I wish I could be a lot more help. I really do. I'd look at these numbers every day almost, and I just.
No, I think that, not including you, Chad, but the rest of you should just tell me what is perfect for me and what I should be able to do with it.
Well, my budget is pretty set. I mean, I pay the lights, the heat, the sanitation, the yard waste, and all the insurance costs for the town, and those are pretty much fixed rates. I mean, I don't have extra money to transfer to your budget. If I did, I certainly would try to help you out. Bob is in the same boat. I mean, his utility budget is pretty set. He pays, you know,
Okay.
as he needs to there. I mean,
Let's call it good then and vote on it, and I get $10,000, and you all four vote no, and I'll vote yes, and I'll vote no, and then we'll move on with our lives.
Police chief said we could lower his capital gains. He did have 5, and I see now it says 2,500. He said we could, $800 would have been plenty, but I thought we could set that at 1,000. I know you want to pay for all them tasers at once, but.
I don't want to stretch it out too long, but $1,700 or $1,500 extra dollars isn't going to make a whole lick of beans. I mean, when you think about it, it's. I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. But I just, again, I have a hard time justifying an $800 taser over 5 years. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, for the 5 of them, it'd be $5,000. That's why he's got 5. He started out with 5.
Yeah.
And then, but he said he only has to make an $800 down payment if he gets all 5.
But next year we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
I mean, it
He doesn't pay
doesn't. We don't solve anything. I actually have a meeting scheduled on Monday with the guy from XL.
Okay.
They will allow it. There's just a contract I think you have to sign, so
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Right.
And they're not enforcing it this year, so we're good this year.
Okay.
Unless you don't want to do them, I mean, that's up to you too.
I see you lowered the technology to 20,000.
Yep.
Yeah, we did that, the last. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hearing. Yeah.
And not to pick on any other department, but again, we haven't really done any adjusting with the fire department budget at all this year from what they submitted as well.
I thought he did.
There were some minor adjustments, weren't there?
No, I just did a quick swap.
Quick swap.
And actually increased their budget with what they were expecting because they didn't put in for the code red.
Oh, yeah, because he had talked about reducing that 1,500.
Yeah, it was one special.
The first responder wages from
Yeah, there was a couple
18.3 to
that you turned
16.8.
down.
Well, the first responder wages, yeah, went down a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. you've
I'm
got-
talking about the
Yeah.
fire department itself.
Operating budget. Okay.
I mean, again, it's all a guessing game on it. I'm with you, Bob. I agree. It's a lot of it's just a guessing game, you know. 13,000 of maintenance and repair for the truck. This year we spent 1,100. You know, is there some room there? But do you anticipate breakage? I don't know.
We've got more repairs coming on the end.
Do you?
Have the pump testing done, so there's some stuff that needs to get fixed.
Okay. You know, general ops, and I'll be honest with you, I look at the general ops that they submit every year. I would say probably 50% of the items have actually been purchased. So I don't know if it's just you put it in there in anticipation, but a lot of that hasn't even been purchased. So I'm just saying, again, not to pick on anybody, but you know, as far as all of the departments have come through and done a little bit here. We haven't hit up on the fire department yet. But shy of taking away street maintenance, again, I look at these numbers all the time and I just don't see any more money that we can take anywhere.
Yeah, we can't take any money out of street maintenance. We just can't.
Well, then I guess we should just not waste any more time and let's move on. Chad's got somewhere to be too, so let's keep that in mind.
But under the general ops here,
Where-
you know, budgeted and actual.
I thought we cut the fringes for the fire department from 7,500 down to 3,500 off of that.
He did a swap.
Fringes.
Well,
Swap
The
on
swap
those.
was the fuel and oil and equipment repair.
No, you're right. We did take 4,000, but it's because it hasn't been needed for
Yeah. Well, what
4
I'm saying
years.
is we did take money out of the fire department budget, $4,000.
Yeah.
Well, in the fire department, the general ops budget seems high to me compared to what you're actually spending. Do you anticipate a big increase in spending this year, Matt, or?
Well, if we gotta repair trucks, we're gonna have to use more than that.
We have a maintenance bill or a maintenance for that, but I'm talking about your general operations.
Well, I'm not sure if all of those came through yet, but
You know, when you look at, you know, $30,000 of this, like I said, when I go through here, I don't see these coming through being purchased. I'm just wondering, you know, other items are being purchased, but not these. And we've gone 28,000 in 2016. We've only spent 20,000, and that's with Code Red in 2017. So that's why I'm saying it's 38,000. Is there some give there? You know, the 28,000 that we spent in 2016 was with Code Red. So
I mean, we're on
you
pace.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. We're on pace to spend about what we did last year, which was $7,000 under budget. And they're seeking an additional 3,000 over last year's budget.
Correct.
And I would prefer a more realistic number if we could nail that down a little better.
But that's where I would fight with Kelsey as far as everybody having to come together. Although, again, a lot of the other departments just don't have that room at this point. But I know the police department did the best they could to come down a little bit, but theirs are pretty static as well.
We used to do, so at the end of the year when you do the budget, you take a look at all that, where you did budgeted versus actual, and then at the end of the year, the actual expenses.
Mm-hmm.
How often do we not come in under that budget? Do you know?
If I remember last year, we came in like 6,000 under budget.
Yep.
I forget what the year before that. I mean, we've been really close. I mean, we've done really, really good, but we're not coming 50, 60,000 where it's going back into the reserve,
I know there was
We're coming close.
Every once, yeah, a couple of those years were like, I know police department.
Oh, we did have the one year where we saved because we were down 1.5 officers, and that saved us
So, yeah,
70
I know we had a
grand.
couple of those years where we.
But in any given year, if we would have had those full positions filled, we would have been.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, even it doesn't matter what the year is. If everybody's working towards that, not spending my budget just because I put it in there, forecasted it. At the end of the year, we're typically, as long as everybody maintains that, we're able to stay usually a little under budgeted. And that, again, I want to emphasize that as the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Not to spend the budget or more than the budget, which is purely a forecast of your expenses, right?
I would agree, but I have seen in the past, and every department has been guilty. Not so much the streets and roads, but they get to the end, they look at their budget, they see what they got left, and they go out and blow it.
And I'm saying maybe it's
stuff.
just the time to re-emphasize that we don't that ultimately hurts the whole town. I mean, you can't do that. The other thing on the budget, when you look at the expenses versus what our revenue is, we're over our revenue. We're spending more than what our revenue is, right?
Right now, yeah, we're about 59,000 more than our.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously we can't be over because.
I mean, and I've looked.
Well,
if there
levy
was,
says.
Let me restate that. We're over what our revenue is, including dipping into the reserve.
Yeah.
So we're not actually getting money we're not levying, we're not generating that. We're taking it and making it revenue, even though it was savings.
Correct. Yeah, we're making it so we can balance it.
Right. And that's how much? It's 77 plus 46, right? So 130,000.
But
110,000.
Yeah, but that's
120,000.
But again, we've put
No, I get it.
400,000. Yeah.
But
From a revenue standpoint, I wish we were like a business and we could generate more. But
Right.
we could charge an extra $1 or $2 for cat license, but that's only $600 or $300.
Right.
It's really chump change with the fees and some of the things that we actually do have control over generating with revenue.
Yeah.
But on Kelsey's defense, that's part of what I was trying to get at was, if we can make some of these things and use a little money at this point to make the community center more appealing, make Plainview more appealing, those are revenue generating things, and you may spend it now, but if you make them appealing for more people outside of the area to rent it, we can charge double the fee or
What is, you got to keep it within the market.
within the market. But
So what, any
Well, we're
idea
way
what-
behind the market because you see what Alaska charges for their community center, which isn't, it's newer, but it's not much nicer.
Holland's the same way. They have a very nice facility and they rent it out, and it's probably $300.
Who?
I think Holland. I think they're charging like $350 a night. But they have a very nice facility as well. So I'm just saying,
thing you don't want to do is put the price so high nobody uses it. Then you become regressive
The
and
idea
you
is it's
end up
community
losing money.
center.
Right.
You know, so I
I
mean,
mean, there's a lot of things that people want. They would like to see Wi-Fi there. They would like to see a projector screen. Like, obviously, I know that's not all gonna happen tomorrow.
You know, if you put some kind of I've been asking for some kind of equipment outside of it, so that way, when they are having family reunions or whatever there, that the kids have something other to do than stare at a wall, you know.
Well, they're gonna have a
But-
backup pit. No, it's going there.
Oh, she's gonna put it back there? Okay, good.
No, it's not going there. It's
Oh.
going where you guys wanna put your pond.
Oh, see, I never agreed with, I didn't think it needed to go down there anyways, but I'm just saying, so those are things that, again, I agree with Kelsey, that if we can put some money into that, maybe you can get some baseball tournaments at Plainview, because now you have a rentable, thing that the Lions Club put up for us or stuff, but again, I understand, but the budget's hard, it's not easy. I guess where I was going again was just the revenue side of things. That's pretty static. There isn't a whole lot of room there. I wish we could raise our rates, but that's.
What do we on an average year generate from the community center now? Any idea? 5,000?
Not even.
3,500.
You would expect with some increases or improvements, you would double that?
Well, I think with the improvements, you could charge more for it, which maybe you could double it. Yeah. I don't think you'd be out of the realm to charge.
Last time I rented, I'm trying to remember, it was like 100.
It was 75 for 4 hours and one and a quarter, 150, 125 for a
For
day.
the day. We try to do it 2 days, but the church has it blocked out like every Sunday for.
They do, but they're also aware that they can get bumped necessarily.
Yeah, so paying, we put that in place. I know after if somebody wants to run it.
Yeah. You know, and well, that's a good point. There are a lot of or places that do use it for free as well that we've never enforced. That's a tough one. You get boys club or boys and girls or Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Lions Club. You know, we don't get any money from them, and they're more than willing to use our light and their electricity. And
well, in fairness to the Boy Scouts, they've done some Eagle projects.
That's true.
Work on that building, and the Lions Club has donated.
absolutely,
I'm not supposed to tell you how
much.
much financially, but it's a lot.
Oh, I would agree. The Lions Club has done a very nice job and
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm just saying that
Yeah,
you
that
know,
wasn't-
a lot of our
But I know
rentals
what the
are-
number is, and it's a pretty substantial number that they have donated
Yeah.
to the town. So
And I know Boy and Girl Scouts have done, well, that deck up there, they did the observation, and the steps at the spillway they did, so.
they did the roof on the community center. In the
Yeah, it's paid to do that though. That was
well, on the
$17,000.
not on the backs, on that little backside thing. I think that was an Eagle Scout
That
project.
downstairs thing?
Yeah.
So, the reason I was wondering is how much you stick into it versus what you get back, that's all.
Yeah. You know, it's an older building, but it's well maintained. I mean, it's in good shape.
I guess one of the other things that could be considerable is zoning costs. I know when we did our zoning, one of the things the board wanted to do was cut those in half from what the county was paying. But you know, those are revenues that again can be looked at, and the fee schedule's adjusted. If those would make considerable differences in revenues, but I don't know how far you want to go with. Again, I understand the whole reasoning to keeping the cost down was for that, but
Yeah.
but a lot of my time and a lot of Cassie's time is also put into that. So, I mean, really, in reality, we're probably not making back what you're paying us to do that for. So,
Yeah. No, I know we're not. Yeah.
but those are really simple revenue ideas. Otherwise, yeah, when you got the expense side of it right now, again, like I said, you're
Well, I'm also looking into fundraising ideas, so I can hopefully stay within the limit of where I need to be.
donations are nice.
And I think that's a good idea. I think people would donate, you know, to do some park improvement and those kind of things. The levy limits make it very difficult to, you know, get around certain things.
That's
But
for Kelsey.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
what's that?
Cans for Kelsey. We could even change my name to a C.
Or you leave it as is and let the chips fly.
Well, we
Over even?
Yeah.
Well,
we can't do that. I mean, there's just no way.
I'm
to-
saying that even if you go, I mean, we're still taking, if you take that park and rec at 10, Mitch is still spending 77, plus the trees are 46, or whatever they come in at, hopefully it's gonna be less, but we're dipping in for that money.
Yeah, we're 100,000.
I got Doug
over
Olson
already.
in here complaining because we don't have money for drainage. I have a hard time spending that money elsewhere. Fire truck may not seem important now, but if your house is on fire, those people are gonna say, how come we got an old crappy truck? Or if the truck craps out, I mean,
Don't we have mutual aid with surrounding communities that we can lean on?
then to that
We
point,
do, and I think it's important to lean on that, but I don't think we want to count on it. It's,
Sometimes you don't have a choice.
sometimes
they always,
your fire doubles in size every 30 seconds, and we know math.
Yeah.
So.
with the point that, it's absolutely correct, we have mutual aid. And it gets used almost every time. It's almost always.
Well, and a part of that mutual aid is it's mutual. So not only do we count on them to bring a decent rig over here to help with our fires, they're counting on the same thing from us. So
You got what you got. I mean, mutual aid, you help out when you can with what you got, you move on.
I can tell you right now, we couldn't show up in Alaska with truck number 2. They would kick us off their fire scene.
Yeah, but then they got mutual aid with lacrosse and
So,
Bowman, so there's
at
other
any
ones that
rate,
can show up.
we know that that's a,
But it's a give take. That's what I'm
It's a-
getting at. It's not just them coming to us.
You only got so much to give.
that's been part of the board charter since the beginning of time, along with constable and streets and roads. So it's part of the board charter. So how it ends up going, I guess it's residents' call, but that we didn't do it 15 years ago because they got a grant, or in the last 15 years, I should say, because they got a grant for the truck we were supposed to replace. So we didn't do anything for 10 years. No, that one's old. It's up there. Nobody likes it, unfortunately. I don't want to spend the money either, but it is what it is. It's going to referendum. Therefore, with the people saying that don't spend the money, I have a hard time continuing to dip into the reserves to spend money. That's all, and that's where I'm at. Because I got people here pretty much every meeting asking for other things. The road in front of their house, drainage. And fire department's been asking for 5 years. We held off on it because they got a grant on the previous one, so.
We can thank the people in Madison for tying their hands so we can't raise money too.
Yeah, but we can't do anything about that.
All part of, yeah, I mean,
That's half the problem.
Yep.
I don't disagree, Bruce. I'm just saying we have what we have. You know that. You've been here. It is what it is. I'd like to see the budget go the other way instead of increasing it anyway. But if everybody follows what their goal is to not try and spend all their money at the end of the year, we potentially could put it back in there. And then that does go back into savings. So we have proven that that's capable. I mean, so it's only 3,000, 5,000, a year. Yeah, 10 years, okay, all right, we're back. But I guess at that point, if zero is the goal for what you had forecasted, knowing that we got to fix the parking lot, we need to take care of the trees, which, again, I can't say enough about commending Kelsey for doing that. I know you don't think it's a big deal, but people were in here complaining about that for quite a while. The ash trees, the dead ash trees along the boulevard, whatnot. So I see that as a important priority. Take the money out of it. It's a one-time deal. It's unforeseen. How'd you know? We all got disease, you gotta get rid of them. Parking lot wears out. You know, those are things you gotta fix, so.
Well, the trees in the parking lot will still come out of reserve.
Yes,
Yeah, that's the only way that
So we're
we
gonna
can
pay
fund
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
that's the only.
Otherwise, they come out of the budget totally.
Okay. And how much is gonna go to parks then, in capital outlay?
10,000.
10,000.
But, yeah, well, yeah, if you're,
And we're
if,
probably gonna have to shut a few parks down, because some of them are not in condition to be open. There's bolts coming through. It's,
This 5,000 for the library? That'd be wiped out too, donations paid for that well, if it needs a well?
Take out
Right,
that
that's gonna
fund.
be a revenue swap.
Okay.
So
yeah,
All right.
that'll be money that'll come out of that Rober's fund if we need to do it, but we left it in the budget just for the revenue swap.
Okay.
It's not gonna actually be a leviable item, so to speak.
Okay.
right, right.
To defense of what we're going to do, I got Shelby's, and they're taking 227,800 out of their surplus. So, we're not the only ones.
But on that, we don't know what they're using it for. We don't know
But
what
they
they.
usually have enough expansion over the year to make up for that, what they said last year.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is, the residents are saying, hey, you've budgeted, came in under budget, we've got a reserve fund, we've got needs. Let's, so there, that's where that money's supposed to go. I mean, I don't see it never getting spent. But
Well, Mitch, you wanna make a motion, or?
Yeah, except I would have to make a motion that we, pull all the revenue.
Well, the motion isn't.
No,
Yeah,
Motion
well,
isn't to do that. It's,
yeah.
so
The,
accept the budget as present, or with the adjustment to Park and Rec
Park and Rec,
to 10,000.
yeah, there's just no other way to pull any money anywhere.
all right, well, looking at the paper ain't gonna change it, so let's move on.
I'm just looking for someone else to make it because I don't want the
Why?
wrath of Kelsey
Are
on
you
me.
kidding?
All right, my grin and bear it.
all
I
right.
move to accept the budget with the adjustment to Park and Rec to 10,000.
Or rough. Again, it'll be a.
Yeah.
There's a.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so
Yeah.
You can't even give me 10,000, someone can't give up $70 or 100. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, that's true. I mean, I guess you could.
10,000. Oh, is that what you said? I see what you're
You
saying.
can't just guarantee me 10,000.
Just guarantee
Because
it.
I
at
rounded
10,000.
it up to 10 and didn't do the exact. I'll stick with the 10
All right.
because I'll
Oh my
donate
gosh,
it
you're
myself.
taking everything.
I'll donate the money myself to make it 10.
Well, that
If you want to donate, you can donate to my 18 fundraisers I'm going to have. I'll be knocking on your door first.
again with that respect, that pretty much zeroes out. I mean, that'll zero out the budget. We knew whatever we were going to do with the stuff going on outside in the trees, that was going to come from reserve. So
Right.
this,
Right. And that may come in less. I mean, the parking lot may come in less, the trees may come in less. So we're going to be, right?
if everybody does a good job at their budget, maybe there'll be some left over at the end of next year, and we can, I mean,
Yeah, maybe the
but,
poor soul that gets my job next can have more than $10,000. Otherwise, you might as well not have anybody run for the job. That will be my motion. Get rid of it. And get rid of one more. That way you have 3.
I wouldn't disagree.
I completely disagree.
I see the at-large thing as a benefit at times and a not at others. So.
The Y program in the Park and Rec that you have going, to me, I know over the years, is a huge thing. I
We
mean,
haven't had it going, and I don't know if we can afford it now.
that's Well, we've got it, don't we have it in there?
It's budgeted.
Yeah,
It's
well,
budgeted.
maybe I'll change my mind because I want to fix a park.
Well, I guess that's up to you. I'm saying that.
Well, you know, I gotta think, what is more important, someone's safety at a park or their kids playing for a month? Like, I have to, what has more of an impact on us financially? Someone ripping their leg on a bolt that's hanging out because the slide is broken? Like, that's gonna cost us a lot more than, I mean, that's,
Well, if we have egregious things like that, I mean, they got it.
yeah, well, I can't now.
10,000. Well,
You do.
anyway, okay.
Here, right here, I have a book of what the costs are for pieces of equipment. How much a slide costs.
I was just saying, if they have to,
There's a broken bolt.
They're in the slides, they're coming up through the plastic. So when a kid slides down, they're this high off the ground and they whap it with their butt, their legs. Do you want your kids
I'm
playing
gonna say the
on
same thing a lot of other people have said tonight. Can we fix it?
it? Yeah, we can buy a new slide, but do you know how
No,
much
no, can
slides
we
cost?
fix it without buying a new slide?
No, it's plastic, it's broken.
No, that's not what,
You know what you want me to do, super roll it?
I'm just asking the same questions that are getting asked of me.
Let's keep going. I got a motion by Bob and a second by Ralph. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Let's move down to the utility fund budget. Bob, you want to take that? Please?
yeah, we did move some money around. I guess we moved from the lift station really was the biggest thing. And my rough budget, or what I'd submitted to Chad, we adjusted to reflect the wages at more in line with the formula that's in place for wages. So, I mean, that being said, it's the 60,000 is for what we plan to do with the utility truck, moving that probably ultimately over to streets and roads and replacing the utility truck. So. It's not super exciting.
Nope, this one's pretty boring.
Good.
That's good. So Bob, you want to make a motion on that?
Move to approve the sewer utility budget as presented by the chairman, or by the treasurer, I should say. Clerk treasurer.
I'll second that.
A motion by Bob, second by Mitch. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Next thing, just to make sure, so now that these are good, how's everybody's schedule look for the 29th for budget hearing?
It usually only takes a few minutes.
Yeah, I think we spent maybe half hour was last year.
Yeah.
That'll work for me.
7 o'clock,
7?
that's what we did last year.
Okay.
I can't be there at 7.
No?
Nope.
6
I can do anywhere between 4 and 5:30.
on Wednesday? Is there another day that works for everybody?
And we have,
Based on everything right now, it's gotta be either, well,
Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, probably.
I need 15 days to get it published, so I'm probably looking the 28th, 29th at least, if not further out.
I can
Tuesday-
do the 28th.
Tuesday, the 28th, good for everybody?
Not really, but
yeah. Oh,
Tuesdays and Thursdays are bad for me. It's my kids'
Wednesday
basketball.
better?
Wednesday's awesome for me. Nobody's got
How
anything.
early could you get here?
Or was that the date? Is that-
Is there a reason we can't do it on a Monday?
We could do it on a Friday
Okay.
or a Monday. I mean, Monday's fine. You could do it
Will Friday be too
the
late?
4th.
What about Thursday, the 30th?
Chad's got it.
Oh, he's got, yeah,
Oh, he's
Friday.
got it.
Friday?
Oh.
Friday would be December 1st.
Could we make it earlier, Rob? Or what time do you get down to work, Council?
I work till 3:30 and then I proceed to go to another job at 5:30.
Oh,
If I know ahead of time that we're doing something, I can make sure I can finagle it.
yeah. What time can you make it? Because I'm done by 1, Ralph could be here.
Can we do
Early
it?
could be.
Oh, you gotta have 15
You
days.
do.
don't you?
I work till 3:30.
That's 3:30 here, quarter to 4, 4.
I come from home.
Okay.
Okay. 4 o'clock on,
Or does Monday work better?
4 o'clock on the 28th? Is that too early?
4 o'clock on the 28th?
I think it's,
One,
the concern
two,
is for
three,
the
four,
residents,
five,
if somebody
six,
wants to show up.
All right,
Yeah,
11,
that's true
12,
too.
15.
Is the 27th work? Monday?
I don't have enough time for publication.
Okay, so we need more than that, so we'd be better off pushing that back to,
Thursday, well, honestly, the 29th or the 30th works the best, because the reason being is I still need to get these numbers, even once the hearing's done, I need to get down and see Pam at the county.
okay.
So I need that Thursday, Friday at the latest, to get those numbers in, so she can get them off to the printer the following week, the week of the 4th. So I can get them printed that week and out in the mail by Friday the 8th. So it's not, that part isn't me, that's trying to get the deadline so the taxes get in the mail by the 8th.
I agree. It's-
So did the 29th work with you?
What about Friday the
I'll call and say.
24th, the day after
29th, it doesn't
Thanksgiving?
work well?
No, I will.
Not enough time, I gotta get it published. I need 15 days to get it
Everything
published.
Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, so tomorrow would be the 10th already. won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's fine, do Wednesday, that's what's convenient for everyone, majority, and that's what's good, so. So what time on Wednesday, the 29th? 7, did you say?
Well, we've done it at 7 in the past, just to try and accommodate as
Okay,
many
perfect.
people as
7
possible.
on the 29th. Mark it down.
I mean, really, like I said, I could do Thursday.
No, we don't want you to, no, that's not fair.
No?
I'm
Sure.
fine with whatever. I'm
29th
just
at
gonna
7.
be working early and get here, so.
Okay.
Just tell me when.
So we would have been landing on 20,
29th and it's 7.
It works.
I appreciate everybody accommodating that.
That concludes our business. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion by Ralph and a second by Mitch. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.